Hi everyone, it's Keely. Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing this fun little set of paintings for you guys. These were made on, I actually don't know the kind of wood these were because they came from like a craft section, but they were wooden panels that I picked up at Joann's probably 3 years ago. And I just for the longest time was like, I don't know what to paint on them. I'm not really inspired to do these. And then I painted that planchette last week and it really just got me in the mood to do some gouache paintings. So I have, I want to say like upwards of 20 acrylic gouache paints in the mail now because I have, well, honestly, that was my husband. He, once he sees me get excited about something, he's like, oh, you gotta do it. So we ordered a bunch of acrylic gouache paints because, you know, we're in quarantine, no going out of the house, but I ordered a bunch off Blick's website because they were having a good sale too. So those are coming in the mail and I hope you guys don't get tired of these because I want to make just so many of them, so many. But yeah, so that's what I'm going to be doing today. As always, I'm going to link all of the materials I used down below. You can see me here transferring a sketch that I had done on my iPad and then printed and then cut out with some Saral red graphite transfer paper onto the panel. Yeah, anyway, I have all my materials linked down below, so I hope you guys enjoy watching this. The exciting part comes at the end because I'm going to finish these with resin, which I've never done before and I'm very excited about. Yeah, I was really happy with how these turned out, so I want to do lots of gouache paintings with resin and I'm just very excited. So, but yeah, I edited this video and then it turned out to be quite a bit longer than I normally aim for my videos to be, but also I didn't really feel like I could edit it down more because I think you would start losing some of the reason to be watching the video at all. So I decided, I asked on my Instagram for people to send me questions and I thought I would do a fun little question and answer because I haven't done that in a long time, but I thought I'd do a fun little question and answer while you guys watch me paint these for years and years and years. Also because I did want to talk a little bit more in detail about the resin I'm doing at the end. So I thought until then we would just answer some questions. So the first one I got is, what is your advice for aspiring artists? And my advice would be to not call yourself an aspiring artist. If you're making art, you're an artist. It doesn't matter how good you think that art is or how much you make. If you make art, you're an artist. So let's start there. You're an artist. Congratulations. I'm very proud of you. The advice I would give would be to I'm so fucking boring because I know what's about to come out of my mouth and now y'all are gonna hate it. It's just to practice every day. That's the only way I ever got better, was by making myself sit down and make a little piece of art every day. That's why I started getting into Instagram, was because it kept me accountable for making artwork every day, is because I had somewhere to put it and people who wanted to see it. So it just encouraged me to not give up and to continue making new artwork every day. That's why Instagram was so cool for me, was because I had somewhere to go share the things that I was doing. Practice every day. If you want to like make fast, substantial improvements, practice every day. Don't be afraid of using reference. Also, fun fact, because I mentioned this on Twitter and the person I was talking to said they hadn't thought of it before, so I'm not sure if that's the case with everyone, so I'm just going to throw that out right now, is take your own reference photos. Like, if you can't find reference photos for the pose that's in your head, take your own. Like, that's a good tip for beginners, honestly. And also, your materials matter less than what you do with them, and I know that's easy to say as someone who really has access to pretty much all the materials I need, but I mean this legitimately. When I got my first Copics, I really thought I was going to like just be so much better of an artist. I was like, I have Copics, I can finally be good at art, and I realized I can just make my art look slightly different, but it's not better in substance, if that makes sense. I hope that's helpful. This next one says, hi Keely, my question is, what inspires you the most and what do you do to not lose creativity? And quite frankly, I do lose creativity. As much as I think we'd like to all say that there's, you know, one and done, you're in a constant state of creativity, I think that that's just not really the case for most people. Staying in a state of in a creative mindset is definitely a learned skill. It's not something that you're just like born with. So I just want to let you guys know that if you find yourself coming up on like art block pretty frequently or just like a lack of inspiration, just know that staying in that state constantly is definitely a skill. It is not something that people just typically have. Some people do, but it's definitely something I had to practice at for years and years. So what inspires me the most is probably makeup and fashion, because that's another one of my, like, as art is the love of my life, but another love of my life is fashion. And so I think they, for me personally, especially given the content of my work, they really overlap in a lot of ways. So it's easy for me to go looking for inspiration on Pinterest or Instagram or whatever, because I'm looking at cool people wearing cool clothes and, you know, how they do their makeup, how they style their hair, what sort of fashion is in, what sort of fashion I like, historical fashion, all of that sort of stuff. It all really appeals to me. And so it's easy for me to consume that kind of content and become inspired. So, and again, obviously given the context of my work, that makes sense, but that might not be the case for everybody. So if you're looking for inspiration, surround yourself with the sort of content that you want to make. Like, keep yourself inspired by whatever means necessary. You know, if inspiration for you comes in the form of consuming other people's artwork, or by going out into the world and looking at nature, or, you know, looking through historical paintings, you know, what have you, whatever form inspiration comes to you in, consume that and surround yourself with it and spend time in it and be mindful of it and thoughtful, and really try and focus on what about it gives you those, like, that, like, wonderful, like, inspirational flutter in your stomach, you know? Be conscious, be mindful. And definitely, I would say, work on looking inwards and finding out what it is about that that gets you in that inspired state, and work on, you know, finding a way to surround yourself with that more, if that makes sense. Just be mindful and be thoughtful and think critically about why what you're consuming makes you feel the way you feel. So get to know yourself a little bit. All right, next question says, what was your inspiration to start drawing? Again, fashion. I like clothes, obviously. I like fashion. I like the way people put together outfits. I think it's really interesting. I love the textures, the patterns. I love it. I always have. But what was, like, really driving me was that there were a lot of ideas I had in my head for clothes that would be cool that I didn't see being made. And so that was, like, a big reason why I started drawing as much as I did, was because I had, like, you know, just ideas for pictures that would be neat, or clothes that would be neat, or hairstyles or makeup or whatever. It was the easiest outlet for me to get all of those ideas out and visible, because I don't necessarily have the skills to go and, you know, construct a garment from scratch, even though, like, I'm not gonna lie, I have some sewing skills and I probably could with some things, but I don't have complex knowledge of sewing, you know? So the easiest way for me to harness and project those ideas was via artwork. Yeah, so that was, like, a big reason why I started getting into art, was because I felt like I had a lot of creative ideas to get out, and I wanted people to see them. I wanted to share them. I wanted to look at them on paper and see what I felt about them, how they made me feel. So yeah, I would say fashion was probably my inspiration to start drawing. Next question. What's your favorite drawing you've ever made? And this is a tricky one, because I feel like my favorite drawing kind of, like, ebbs and flows in what that is. Something that's my favorite drawing this year will definitely not be my favorite drawing next year. Well, not necessarily, but will likely not be my favorite drawing next year. Currently, my favorite drawing is that planchette that I painted, actually. I can't express to you guys how proud I am of that. And it did actually sell. I know I talked in the video about, like, not really wanting to sell it because I'm like, oh, I love it so much. But it did actually sell really quickly. It was up for maybe 45 minutes before it was purchased. So if that person is watching this video, I want to extend again a thank you. I really appreciate you supporting my artwork. But yeah, that was huge for me. I'm so proud of that artwork, and it's definitely gonna be hard to let it go, but I'm really glad that it's going to someone who's really gonna enjoy it, because I think ultimately if I had kept it, I probably, like, I love it, but I don't think it would have been as cherished in my home as it would be by an art collector, or, you know, the lucky person who was able to snatch it up. I think that, or at least I hope, it'll be really, really enjoyed where it's going. And so I'm happy that it's going, but it's definitely my favorite artwork I've made in, I don't know, easy the last year, possibly ever. Hard to say. I've made a lot of artwork. Yeah, it's probably my favorite artwork currently. Next question. Do you prefer warm colors or cool colors when drawing? Typically, that's a hard one. Typically, I want to say probably warm. But, God, cool colors have such a place in my heart. Like this painting you see me doing here, this is like majority cool colors, and I love it. It makes me so happy. But in general, like, I think I'm more typically drawn towards warm pinks, peaches, all of that, like warmer lavenders, things with just warm undertones in general, I think appeal to me more. That's not to say that cool colors don't have a very valid place in my heart, because they absolutely do. Next question. What Hogwarts house would you be in, coming from a Ravenclaw? I, well and truly through and through, am a Slytherin. I want everyone to know that. I'm sure you all probably know that. I'm a Scorpio, Slytherin. You're all very welcome. You have that information about me now. Do with it what you will. Next question. What do you do when your motivation runs dry? I take time to myself, and that's something that I've really had to like learn over the years, because it's really easy to be like, hey, you should be working, you need to find a way to motivate yourself. But I find that when I force myself into that state of working, I'm never as happy with that artwork as I am when I am patient with myself and take time to recoup and, you know, really process my emotions and spend time with myself and do things outside of artwork. It's really, really, really important for both your health and, you know, honestly, the quality of your work, to spend time apart from each other and to spend time doing other things that you're passionate about. As all-consuming as making artwork can be, and as great as it feels to get into that state of creativity, it's just not good for me personally to stay in it 24/7 and always be pushing for more. Again, that's just my personal opinion. I think a lot of people, it's hard for them to differentiate between what's enough and what's too much. But I just want to encourage everyone who makes artwork on a regular basis to also have other hobbies that they enjoy, have other ways that they enjoy spending time with themselves, and to pursue those avenues and be proactive about making yourself participate in activities outside of art. I know that's really hard, because making art, you know, it's a passion. It's fantastic. It gives me all sorts of good feelings, but also if I don't spend that time recuperating, my artwork suffers, my mental health suffers, my physical well-being suffers. So everything in moderation, and that's definitely something I had to come to learn. So when you hear people say that, listen to them, because they mean it. It's important. So as you can see, we've moved on to the resin portion of this video. So this resin I'm using here will be linked below. The brand is Art Resin, and I did the 50-50 mix as instructed. I was really nervous about this, and that's why I did it on these smaller panels, but I was really nervous that this could potentially ruin them, so I started on these smaller, cheaper panels that I had purchased. And yeah, this was my first time doing a resin pour, and I'm so happy with it. It makes me so happy. I have some of this iridescent clear white glitter that I added into the resin because I thought it would be really, really pretty, and I was not wrong. My instincts were right. Glitter is always cool and fun. But yeah, I added some of that glitter into this, and then you can see me here popping the bubbles on the surface of the panels with a little lighter. There were some spots that got missed, or I don't know. I don't know. This is a first go, but I'm in general pretty happy with how these turned out, but they're imperfect, you know. There are some spots that the resin didn't want to cling to the panel, and there are some bubbles, especially on this first little circular one. You can see there are some bubbles around the edges, but I would say it was a pretty good first go. Like, I think that they finished pretty nicely in general. There are a couple flaws, but you know, they're unique. But yeah, I really liked making these, and I definitely think I'm gonna have to get more resin and do more of them. And I don't know, now that I've put the glitter in the resin, that I can ever do it without glitter. The glitter is enchanting. I can't not do it now. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. I hope everyone's staying inside and staying happy and healthy and, you know, being socially distant. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I will leave links to everything down below. If you'd like to purchase these artworks, I'd really, really appreciate it. My shop link is down below, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye!